One, two, three. Let's go. All right. Welcome back to the Crease Dive. Pause that. Jordy, can you hit us with it? It just sounds so much cleaner.
All right, let's loosen up the muscles here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to a live edition of the Crease Dive. Round one of the 2024 NCAA tournament has wrapped up. Boys and girls, I hope you're at maybe a blackboard, maybe on the sidewalk, right? A little hopscotch, little game that you're gonna draw up here because it has been all chalk in the 2024 NCAA tournament so far. Yeah, I kind of forgot I haven't used chalk in a while. Chalk sucks, dude. It just dries out your hands so fast. It sounds disgusting. Ness, you probably ate some chalk as a young Ness growing up, so I'll leave all the chalk talk to you.
I mean, to be honest, I was a big milk bone dog treat eater, so I wasn't eating a lot of chalk, but I was eating dog treats. But yeah, I mean, rough weekend for people who wanted to see some upsets and some interesting lacrosse, but that's why we're here to talk about it. Maybe they seeded it correctly. Who knows? We'll dive into it.
Yeah, we'll dive into it. I think today was a good day of games. I won't lie. When we talked initially about doing this, I was like, after yesterday, I was like, man, dude, what do we even talk about? There's just blowouts all over the place. Today gives us a little bit more to talk about. But before, I think I was going to end the show with this, but let's talk about this before diving into the D1 action. I think that people are going to be obviously looking for Ness to comment on it. Rest in peace. I'm sorry for your loss. The Cabrini Cavaliers are no more.
Yeah, man. It hurt a lot. I got a lot of no-name burners up my ass on Twitter right now. They would never dare to sign their fucking name on half these tweets. But just, a special shout out to those guys this year, all the legendary past alums, the 2019 team. I mean, it was a hell of a ride. It still doesn't feel real that they're gone. I mean, I watched that clock tick down and I was like, it felt very similar to putting my dog down back in the day. And it was sad, man. I mean, have I cried, Grimes? I don't think I've cried enough yet. I think it's going to hit me Tuesday. The waterworks are going to come flying down. I'm sure I'll take a picture or video when I start crying, just so people know how real it is. But, a lot of people joined on the bandwagon this year. It was fun. And everyone who's hating on them, you can go to hell. And my address is, I'll put it out there and I'll be out front. So I'm not worried.
Ness don't give a damn about nothing but the Cavs.
Yeah, like they're all like that.
Were you golfing though during the game?
No. So I met with some buddies who were golfing. I'm not a golfer. I had the game on, had my computer with me. Gritty guy moved to bring the computer to get the bigger screen. It hurt a lot, but no, I was locked in on the game. But I was at a country club, humble brag, free beers for Nest. But no, I'm not a big enough golfer to be getting that first call unless there's an empty spot in the foursome.
Yeah, that might be the most D3 lax thing of all time, to watch your school get bought by a D1 school and watch it on a laptop at a country club drinking as your team is just dying. I'm not saying that the team died because you weren't locked in enough, because you're about as locked in as anyone can get.
The lucky hat on.
It
had nothing to do with that. He had the lucky hat on.
Yeah, and the lucky hat we had a good run with it. I think they were like 13-2 with it on. Big upset win against Cortland during the season. But a couple teams that were up my ass during the year. Dickinson lacrosse. Go fuck yourself. You got eliminated the same weekend as Cabrini. You guys are nobodies. They're out here commenting on videos. You guys fucking suck. You'll never raise the fucking trophy. Neither will CNU. And as long as Salisbury doesn't fucking win it this year, I'm still a winner. That's all I need is Salisbury to fucking lose. Anyone but Salisbury. Not looking great.
But in that sense, if Salisbury doesn't win, it would be like CNU does. So I think we're heading for a lose-lose territory for Ness. But
if there's one team I'm jumping on, so now that Cabrini's out, obviously I'd be riding with Cabrini. I'll ride to Cabrini into the sunset with you, Ness. You know I will.
It is.
Now
It's done.
now that they're in the sunset and they're dead, I can't ride it anymore. St. John Fisher, dude.
Yes.
This team.
Don't sleep on them.
So one, you take down Wesleyan and SLU this weekend, but two, the video they put out of the boys singing Swag Surf on the bus ride home, like, you know, that bus is juiced right now. And I don't know how, bro. So St. Lawrence to Rochester, like, you probably got a decent amount, few hours, right? You got to go all the way across New York for that one.
Yeah.
That is going to be a greased up bus when they get back to St. John Fisher's campus later today. So that seems like a team who's got it. Now they run into Tufts in the Elite Eight here, so I don't know how long that Cinderella will last for. But you take down Wesleyan and St. Lawrence right off the bat. You can take down Tufts. You can take down the Jumbos. They don't have Jack Boyden anymore. So that's definitely a bandwagon that I'd be if I'm just looking for, if I'm going D3, I'm riding for the ultimate grease balls in D3. It was Cabrini, and now that Cabrini's out, I think it dips down to St. John Fisher.
Yeah, they were getting the juice off with Cabrini. They have a 19 Cabrini feel to them. Just riding the wave.
Yeah, they were buzzing. You know, it's a big win for them. And like Jordy said, there's nothing better than that long bus ride home. Cabrini was notorious for having so many ice cold beverages on that bus for the way home. I remember getting a text from one of our coaches. He's like, if you guys can't drink like adults, we're going to shut it the fuck down and run you till you puke. And we're like, all right, sounds good. And
how did you guys get ice cold beverages on that? We always had to, so we would just have to do mixed drinks in the team issued water bottle.
We did. We had just parents who would just give like coolers, and we would bring them onto the bus like before the tailgate ended. And there's usually probably 2-3 like different coolers, like usually like 2 to 3 specific parents were always kind of hooking it up. And if you didn't get your own, you're always good for like a couple from someone. But there was like a good chunk of guys that you honestly, we were rarely short on beers after a big win, especially on the 2019 run. The parents did an unreal job of keeping us hydrated and in the right mindset post game. So we were all good there.
So happy. That's a great way to say Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms that like hook up the team buses, the tailgates and everything. Speaking of drinking on the buses, I know Virginia has a legendary drinking on the bus story, maybe in 21, where they had the kid that wasn't on the team on the bus and they stopped it like wow.
So that was when they won. I want to say it's when they won in
Hartford.
So was that Hartford? Yeah.
Not the Philly one.
I was going to say, was it 19 or 12? Oh, yeah. So it was definitely a longer, but yeah, coming from Hartford.
It's not on the team.
Yeah.
When we won in 2019, my boy was going to go back to Chatham. I was like, dude, just get on the bus with us. I gave him a national championship hat and a shirt. He walked right by our coach with his head down, and he was in our locker room with us post-game, breaking down the last huddle of the year after the Natty. He's just my homie, Justin Hayes, who went to Richmond. Didn't play lacrosse or anything. College, played a little bit of football, but absolute legendary move. I can't believe Virginia did the same thing. You're saying did the kid have to get off?
I think he did at some point, but
oh, no.
Yeah, at some point. But diving into the games, obviously, round one reactions. People want to hear the D1 shit. Rest in peace to Cabrini. But yeah, we tried to get Malasek on for the Virginia game. Virginia big win against St. Joe's, 17-11. Obviously, big story coming out of that one. Payton Cormier, all-time leading goal scorer in NCAA lacrosse history. I'll softball it up to you guys really quick. Does it mean anything because he broke it in 5 years, or is Gutty's more impressive for doing it in 4?
I don't know how many games he's actually, like, there was because like everyone was trying to make the same thing about Brandow breaking the Ivy League record, and it's like, yeah, he was there for 5 years, but he played like less than Ben Reeves did. But Ivy also lost like 2 years, so being there for 5 years, like how much Virginia's playing the whole time. So I'm sure that Cormier's probably played a couple more games than Gutty. It definitely means something. Like now you got the record. Like it doesn't matter. No, like right now people will be like, oh, well, he played more games. 5 years from now, And maybe
Right.
someone will break it within there, but like 5 years from now, people aren't going to be like, oh, well, you actually played 5 more games. So it's like, who gives a shit?
So I asked you that question, Jordy, because I thought the same thing, and I like that response. There's a trick question. Justin Guterding played more games in 4 years than Payton Cormier played in 5. Now, given, I will say, Payton Cormier is also like 26, which I just found out, because he started his college career and redshirted in 18-19.
Dude, at this point, and look with between
Yeah,
red
who
shirts,
cares?
the COVID year, between reclasses, like it's going the way of college hockey. Like we're just gonna have to deal with dudes being like 30 years old and playing college ball and be like, oh well, you know, it is what it is. Isn't there a dude who played in the MLB and he's like 30 something? He might be 30 right now, and he's going back to play. Or he might be like 28. And
Yes.
he's going back to play football at Arkansas.
Exactly. Yeah, he saw that NIL money and he's like, "Give me that Walmart money." He saw Cal. He saw the boosters at Arkansas.
NIL,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, not the guys are leaving college early to because they want to go pro lacrosse. No offense, PLL, you guys. It's where the biscuits buttered. So, but it's not like guys are like staying in college because of the NIL. But still, yeah. I mean,
Right.
reclass, everything. Like they're all 26, especially dude, Canadians too. Like who the fuck knows how? Oh, I'm in grade 11 and I'm like fucking 21. Like, all right, like go away.
So do you in the St. Joe's Virginia game? Obviously, it was our shout out Colin Reach, straight diesel fuel, started the game off with a slinger on the short stick D midi, but St. Joe's was chirping a lot. Do you like to see that out of a team like St. Joe's, and then kind of getting it back in some way? Because I saw Shelley waved goodbye in the third quarter. Like, that's dehumanizing. I saw they went 5-hole on Nunes. He did like the little like, you can't see me in between the legs. I like the effort out of St. Joe's, but you can't lose like that. You can't be the guys that talk shit for like 3 years in the tournament. Like, it's cute year one when you're like neck and neck with Yale and like Yale's talking a lot of shit. But when you're doing it in the first quarter and it's like year 3 of a kind of like this core group at St. Joe's, I thought it was lacking self-awareness to some degree. But I guess you also could argue it's sticking true to who you are.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, but you also just got to be careful. Like, it's like that saying, like, poking the bear. Like,
right.
You can talk shit, but when you're like kind of like adamant about talking shit and it's being caught on all the cameras and your hand movements and you're getting them going, you know those Virginia kids are just sitting there like, dude, we are so much fucking better than this team. And when we start rolling, like, we're going to fucking give it to them.
Right.
It's like just playing a risky game. I mean, it backfired on him eventually. I do think in a way, like you said, like staying true to your roots. Like you can't just cower away. I think he's got to be careful. Maybe get a few more goals lead and then start giving it to him, because you could feel that Virginia like felt that it was a little personal with the way they were going back at him. So that's how I kind of took it.
Yeah.
I just so totally agree with everything you guys said. The one thing I'll say, you need better sideline leadership, right? Like you need someone on the sideline to be like, hey, like, dude, you're a 4th string goalie. The only reason why you're here right now is because if we didn't have you in the net during warmups, like we might like rip through the net. Like we need to like protect our nets, right? Like that it's not in the athletic budget to keep buying new nets after every game. So like we need to throw a body in the net. Like that's the only reason you're here. Maybe don't fucking poke the Schellenberger bear. Like poke someone else. Like, you know, like find a second line midi on Virginia. You can probably rattle him a little, but like Shelley's not the one. Payton Cormier is not the one. You know, anybody on that defense, not the one. Like you got to pick and choose a little bit better. There's still a way you can stay true to who you are. Like if you're chirpers and you like that's what gets you going, there's a way to stay true to that while also making sure you don't get yourself murdered.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that like when you're a backup goalie, like again, nobody juiced up the sidelines better than this guy right here. And I think there's a couple of rules for being a backup goalie. You juice up your own team, and the only time you ever chirp is when someone gets decked out of bounds onto the sideline. Like when someone's in your bench mob zone, you can chirp them. But when you go from the other, when there's a timeout and you're like trying to talk shit to the other sideline, I don't fuck with that.
Fair. I think one that you missed is I do think it's also the backup goalie's job to get a little game going with the other team's goalie when he's on your end. I think that's like a secret weapon because goalies, they hear everything from the sidelines. If you can get a couple good chirps in while, like, let's say Nunes was missing a few, and you're on the side and say, Nunes, they're warming up the other goalie. They're coming for your ass. Nunes is sitting there, and he might not like that. But I do agree with you can't be the guy to get the other team too pissed. And right. I think when you cross, maybe when you go get your goalie in between whistles, maybe you can throw like a little how you doing. But if you're going at the other bench, and there's one that now eyes are on you, so now you can't chirp as much anyway. And two, like you probably pissed off someone you shouldn't, and you can't really affect the game other than giving the other team more motivation to cheddar on your goalie.
Dude, I sent out a tweet about it. I also blogged about it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it right now. But the wave goodbye in the third, with 2 minutes left in the third quarter,
it's crazy.
It was so sick.
All-time move.
It was so, and I will, because I don't know how to write. I only know how to ramble. But that's when I knew St. Joe's fucked up with the shit talking, because Connor Schellenberger for 4 years has never been a look at me or a shit talker. Seems like a guy that just plays lacrosse, wins a lot of lacrosse games, and is better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And when he waved goodbye, I was like, oh my God, it felt borderline disrespectful. But I was like, no, he's been probably hearing shit all fucking game. He went off. Cormier went off. Obviously, to break the record, 8 goals, 6 points from Schellenberger. Schellenberger looked like the best player in the country, for what it's worth. And then I like the move of putting Boyd in at attack and McCabe out of the box, kind of sticking with that. I know there's someone in the chat last week who, I think it was the D3 kid, who was like, you should do that more.
Might have been Jordan Krug, I think. Reading
it. Yeah, and I know they've been doing it a little bit. I didn't know how like consistent they were with it, but I like switching it up with that. I thought that when you turn back the film, Ben Weyer, I love his game with the pole. I think he's someone that deserves a shout out. And then my last thing, when we're talking about talking shit and we're talking about how the Virginia midfield needs to step up, Griffin Schutz, man, get a mic on him. You can just see the PLL social team is just begging for him to get to the league with the amount of shit that he was talking. So, couple guys that I had my eyes on. You guys got any more comments about the games? About Virginia St. Joe's game?
I think
Cormier, my heart broke. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think Cormier talks a ton of shit, and I love that. That's
Canadian.
We touched on it too. Like he's a big guy too. Like, I eat that up.
Well, okay, so
stays in the crease and Canadian, he's talking nonstop.
Exactly.
So I have a theory to break down. One, I kind of understand Cormier not getting drafted, which is crazy to say, because I kind of agree with what Jordy said in the last episode. You kind of put him down low. He's a one-dimensional player, really good, like scoring the ball, not an excellent shooter. I don't think he's like you'd say like he's the best at shooting from the outside, or that like you just put a shorty on him and you're forcing them to double the pulls. Then the conspiracy dives deeper. What if he was just like, fuck it, I'm not playing for any other team than the team that drafts Connor Schellenberger. He's like, if anybody else drafts me, I'm going to play box lacrosse. So he just like was like, I am not playing, almost with an Eli Manning. Yeah. And then as soon as it came down, he's like, I'm only playing for the team Connor Schellenberger does, because he's a system player. He can only play with Shelley. He can only score a shit ton of goals and make a living with Shelley. It's a little too far, but I think him being on the Atlas is like the perfect fit between him and Teat. And obviously just like, it's insane. I said, it's like Case Keenum, like the all-time leader in touchdowns at the college level for football, going undrafted to some degree. But if Case Keenum had 2 national championships and started every single game.
Fair. Deep.
Fair. Yeah. Let's move on to the second game. Do we even really need to talk about it that much? Duke just fucking absolutely annihilated Utah 19-7. Kind of exactly what I thought was going to happen. Did you guys have any main takeaways from this game?
Not a one. Good game out of Patrick Jameson. Good to see that.
Yeah.
Kind of, a young kid getting his first start in the NCAA tournament, kind of a nice little way to get like training wheels into the tournament. And then that way you head into the quarterfinals, you feel a little bit more comfortable playing in a game that could like make or like dude, it's got, you guys are the goalies, so you gotta
Right.
like you guys. I wouldn't know the psychology behind this, so you guys would know a little bit better. But like Brendan O'Neill's a pretty fucking important player to the legacy of Duke lacrosse, and like you could be the reason why he played his last game for Duke. You know, like if you have a shit game, like
Mm-hmm.
you end his career. So, you know, for him to kind of be able to play in a game where it's like, hey, like if we lose, we go home, and get an easy one under his belt, probably I would imagine makes it feel a little better heading into the quarterfinals. Again, not a goalie though, so I don't know how your guys' weird brain works.
I think that with Brendan O'Neill, he's a national championship away from. I'm not going to say the best college career ever, but maybe in the bet, like he has the most impressive like 4-year run going. Team USA gold medal because of the college. Team USA MVP World Games as a college player. Tewaaraton, you get that national championship and like potentially another Tewaaraton. It's tough to find a better resume in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, if he wins the national championship and the Tewaaraton this year, I think it'd be very hard to say otherwise. Like Duke just said, I think
the World Games MVP is like a game changer to that argument.
I agree. I think whoever wins, this isn't necessarily specific to, I think whoever wins the national championship is going to be the Tewaaraton winner. If it's Notre Dame, then it's going to be sort of a toss up. But if Duke wins it, we're going to see Brandon O'Neill getting his second Tewaaraton.
Yeah, and going off what Jordy said really quick about Patrick Jamison and just like settling into games, whatnot, he's been one of the most impressive goalies in the country. And my whole thing about, I just don't trust Duke. I guess I said Duke and Virginia won't win it because of goaltending. Patrick Jamison's skill-wise there, and I think he's the next bright star in the ACC when it comes to like the backstoppers in the country. Very, very impressed by him. It is a freshman playing in big games. Like he's going to have to show up, and exactly what Jordy alluded to. Like he feels the pressure, and even if he makes it to a championship game or even the Final Four, very, very impressive. Because like you're playing against next week Maryland, which we're going to have a preview show later in the week, where you're playing against Maryland with a bunch of guys that have been there before and are on that 2022 team. So like he's running through the gauntlet. He's got to be prepared for the next couple of weeks.
He's already suffered the worst loss of his career, though. He had a season end to Springfield Delco in high school. So,
did he? Oh,
Jordy's Springfield Cougars have just made absolute work out of like all the best goalies to come out of PA. And whether it was 5-10 years ago or last year, it seems like the Cougars took care of them at some point, which I respect. Once a Cougar, always a Cougar.
Utah should have been in the playing game instead of Albany. Probably.
Yeah, probably. I don't really know like how. I mean, credit to the committee. They clearly got this one right with the seedings. But I agree. I really didn't need to watch Utah play lacrosse this weekend. If we're being totally honest, like
that was a wash.
It's just not really like I'm happy for them. You know, I wish good things upon the program. I'm not a Utah hater, but like I don't need to watch them play lacrosse. How pumped do you think Josh Awada is that he is now in Durham instead of Ann Arbor?
So pumped. I mean, like I know his stock was kind of sky high after last year, but man, he's so good. And the fact that him and O'Neill are just going to run it back for the Outlaws, I fall in love with the draft more and more with the Outlaws and what they did. I think Zawada, you can make the argument he's been like the MVP of the team this year.
Yeah, something about to do with the Z in his name.
Yeah,
it's always dangerous.
Yeah, don't fuck with the guy with the Z in his last name. But I will say, Jordy, I think you'll appreciate this. Is Avery Gaming is talking about how bad is the ASUN? Bad, but also Jacksonville played Utah in the championship game, right? Because I think this sets up nicely. Like a Jacksonville beats Duke in February, and then we could see Jacksonville versus Duke in the tournament. Which that sets up,
and then Duke beats Jacksonville 19-7.
Right, it's the perfect. It's perfect. That's enough talking about Utah
it's-
lacrosse.
Yeah, it's the same thing that High Point does every year, where it's like, dude, you guys like ASUN. ASUN is a conference where you guys are probably incredible in February, and then once all the big boys are like teams like Duke, they're like, we don't want to peak until May. ASUN teams are like, we have to peak when we get these guys on their off conference schedule.
Yes. This third game of Saturday was another like stinker, and then once you started thinking that it was gonna like turn into something, it didn't. Denver beats, I guess technically upsets because according to the books they were the underdogs, but Denver beats Michigan 16-11.
I was kind of
Go ahead.
I was kind of all over Denver. I mean, I've like been a Michigan hater, was worried that they were going to throw it in my face. I did think they played really good in the Big Ten. But, I mean, it really wasn't even close. Like Duke said, it never really was a game where you're like, oh, like Michigan's going to come out and do it. They trailed early, scored a couple in the middle, and then they were down by like 3 or 4 late. And they ended up losing by, I think it was 5 was the final score there, 16-11. So, yeah, just never felt in reach for Michigan.
I think that I kind of disagree with that. I did think that when Michigan went on that run to close it to 4, I was like, oh shit, they might actually do this. And I hate to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, if they just didn't go out to a 7-1 lead, it's a different ball game. But if they didn't go out to that like 7-1 lead, it's a different ball game. It's just the Michigan goalie kind of didn't answer the bell after playing fucking phenomenal in the Big Ten championship game, which slowly after I started making my picks during the week, I still went with Michigan. It's kind of like Jack Frassione, why I took Penn State, which also was a sucker. But I was like, if a goalie plays above what he usually does, I think he will regress to the mean the next game. And I just didn't stick to that line of thinking that I always have. But yeah, I mean, Denver has more talent than Michigan. They were better. I mean, I think, what's the kid's name? Richie Connell. Was very,
so I really wanted to bring up Richie Connell because I crack up every time I see this kid play. He is just a massive slab of meat, and like you show him after scoring a goal, and like he's just this monster of a human. But he's got this just such a boyish smile on his face, like every time they show him, like the guy just doesn't have like thoughts going on behind his head, but he just loves running through people. And I think that that's a lot of what this Denver offense does. Like, obviously a guy like, Silstrop can just sling it from anywhere, right? He's kind of got that, but like, I feel like a lot of what this Denver offense does is they're just bigger, stronger, faster, and they're gonna get to their spots, whether you're in their way or not. Now, if this were like football, right, and the playoffs were in cold weather, I'd be all over Denver right now, right? I'd be like, this is a cold weather team, like they're going to run through. It's in May, so it's not like – and what I will say, though, like maybe I don't see them being legitimate national title contenders, but if they make it to the Final Four, so I guess who would be on that side of the bracket for them? So
Cuse.
Well, so they'll play Cuse, but who? I'm trying. Hold up. Let me
Notre Dame
here. Okay. Well, yeah. So if dude, and especially the way that the Cavanaughs play already, like if Denver makes it to the Final Four, whoever has to play Denver in that semifinal game is so fucked for having to play against them and then turn around and play on that Monday. So like, because again, like right now, you get a week off between games, so it's not like Denver has any massive advantage heading into the quarterfinals because they play that big physical game. But when you have to play 2 games in 3 days, if you lose to Denver and make it to the championship, and you already have the Cavanaughs who just like love to get hit regardless, so like they're already going to be a little banged up. They might play. They have to be like a little banged up to get themselves back to the level, but they get even more banged up against Denver. Their defense will be banged up, just getting run through by mutants like Richie Connell. So that'll be a really tough draw. And like for some reason, they would end up being like the second game on Saturday.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, I think Kevin Corrigan then has to just like pull Dan Hurley, just making up like anything to like get the boys pumped up. Just like, oh, they put us in the second time slot. They're throwing everything at us. They don't want us to win. They don't want us to go back to back. Monkey Crease asks, is Stathakis the best Fogo in the tournament? He wasn't even the best Fogo on Saturday in a win, so I'm going no.
Didn't the Water Dogs just pick up?
Yeah, him. The only two pickups were him and AJ Mercurio.
He's easily the best Fogo in the country. Then
Philly.
I don't know if he's the best Fogo in the tournament, but when I saw this kid when he was a senior in high school practicing at Cabrini's field, he was bigger and stronger than almost everyone on the Cabrini team. So I'm assuming he's bigger and stronger than he was 4 years ago. So I don't know. I don't think he's playing like the best Fogo in the tournament. I think he could be a really tough matchup though. So
chat, please don't make fun of Cabrini or Cabrini size. Please don't.
No.
D3 lives matter.
They do. Well, they did. Now
Brady definitely wasn't it. You guys weren't a weight room team.
No. We were just get high as hell in the cross game team.
Booze and ball, baby. Yeah, Natty champs, still champs. Can't take it away from you.
That reunion, I think that reunion I might throw on. I might pull what like your friend on the bus did. I might just throw on a Cabrini national champ shirt and just be like, "We did it, guys." 20 years from now, they're not even. Also, just really quick, just shout out to Tommy DeLuca for what he did. He should definitely be looked at for assistant coach role at a high in the D1 level, the D3 level. But just shout out to him for everything that he's went through this year. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's an absolute legend. Without him, probably wouldn't have been a season. So he's a really good lacrosse mind, and hopefully it lands somewhere where he can make good use of it. I'd love to see them give DeLuxe a shot D1. I might have to enroll myself as his agent for the summer to make sure he's not getting hosed over by anyone. So stay tuned for that. Yeah,
stop doing comments like this. Size in D3, that's not nice. Again, I asked nobody comments stuff like this. I will not. I'm banning everyone that comments stuff like this. Last game of Saturday, though. One that you knew Maryland smacked around Princeton.
I knew it was coming.
I mean,
Jordy, take it away. What were your thoughts from this game?
I mean, listen, in my defense, when we did our round one preview, when I was making my picks for that, I had to run really quick. I had to go pick up my 4-month-old daughter from daycare. All right. So you can't hold this against me. So I was rushing. I was rushing through these picks. So when I said that I like Princeton to be like my one quote unquote dark horse to make it to the Final Four, that was in a rush. I didn't have really time to think through it. I didn't think about, just Maryland being the big evil empire. And just, this is what they do. And just when Maryland's just at the point where you want to turn on them just because they've been so successful. It's human, it's basic human nature to when they're when someone's experiencing so much success, you start to turn and you're like, fuck that. I don't want them to win anymore.
You're so right.
Why do so many people despise the New England Patriots? And that's where Maryland, and just when you feel comfortable with it, hey, you know what? Maybe it's finally time. They weren't in the Final Four last, maybe they're losing the first round this year to Princeton. Maybe the dynasty's finally over. Boom. Come out and just crush the balls off of Princeton, run the nerds off the turf. Princeton, the lone Ivy to make the tournament after Donna just gargled the Ivies down a couple tournaments ago. And this was Maryland's revenge. Maryland got revenge for Notre Dame, for Duke, for all those teams that should despise the Ivy League for stealing spots from them in the tournament a couple years ago. Ivies are gone, and they didn't even stand a chance.
that was the most right thing ever to put in one Ivy League team and be like, well, should anyone else got in? Absolutely not. That closes any argument that any other Ivy should have gotten in. But
yeah,
I mean, Maryland looked fucking good. What was it? They're 11-3. Did you see that stat, by the way? Maryland has played Princeton 7 times since Tillman came. So since like 2015, basically. Since 2015, Maryland has beat Princeton 7 times, 7-0, and they haven't trailed for a minute. Since 2015, Maryland has never trailed to Princeton.
That's just
tough,
right?
I mean, that's
just.
That's right.
I know it's Mother's Day, but
no, I know the stats.
Princeton should be saying Happy Father's Day to Maryland. Big night out of Eric Spanos. Happy to see that. He's kind of had an up and down season, but he was so nasty in this game that I think he even got Kark to say that he should wear number 1 next year.
That's a good game.
Good timing.
Yes, Eric Spanos. I think they moved him down low, and they put somebody.
Well, he started down low, like the whole, and then they started moving him out of the box throughout the season. Then they brought him back low. But,
right.
Yeah.
I forget the move that they did, but yeah, obviously the adjustments were there. Smacked Princeton. Maryland's probably going to make the Final Four now, and everyone's ever going to forget that they were mediocre, and that's just like the way that life goes. I'll address this really quick. I think because some people in the chat are asking about this. Cannon's making a joke of the PLL signing. The Texas kid, no shot he would have touched the field at Cabrini in 2019, and now he's on the PLL roster. I completely disagree with this. I guarantee this kid's an insane athlete. And at the very worst, he's like a short stick D midi. Now, could this also be a move for Hartzell to be like, look, I'm trying to grow a serious program at Texas. Can you just like throw him a bone, like get him on the field, and like maybe he could come to like Champ Series next year for good? Sure. There's no harm in inviting a kid to a fucking PLL training camp, but like, I don't think that the drop off between the D3 level to this kid at Texas is that insane. If like a guy that's played in the PLL is like, he's good enough to go to a training camp.
I completely agree. I think like, yeah, obviously he got signed because of the connection, but I think it's like, I don't think that this coach is going to bring in some like random guy from the team he coached.
Right.
Who doesn't think he could play. The kid's obviously big, like just looking at pictures and videos of him playing lacrosse, like he has the size. And I don't think that Kyle would just waste, like, there's not a lot of spots. I do think it doesn't hurt to bring him to camp, but like, you can't just bring 55 people to training camp. So he probably gets a good say in a few guys, like, and he just went out there and was like, hey, this guy I think could be a really good player. And I don't watch or have a ton of experience with club lacrosse, but I find it very hard to believe that there aren't like phenomenal pro level lacrosse players scattered across the country at every level. So, I mean, I think that's kind of a crazy take. But I don't know. I hope it works out for the kid. That'd be sick. I mean, Texas lacrosse looks like it rules, and the MCLA rules. So I'm hoping he.
Yeah, as an MCLA guy, I that could have been me, and it should have been me.
Can I just say that I think that the lacrosse community needs to rally together, and we need to get Connor Martin back into the mix. We need Combrochill back in the mix. Combrochill, well, he didn't walk. He backflipped a lot. But Combrochill ran so that this Texas kid could run as well. I mean, talk about trailblazers of the game. He had to have been the first club. Well, maybe not. I mean, I'm sure that there were guys like early MLL who were like, who were like club lacrosse player. But like either way, like Combrochill was like the first big guy to go from club to the pros, and like, dude, that was like that was the heyday of club. Those Chapman teams.
We might need to get Combrochill on here.
Yeah, I mean,
we got to get Combrochill on here.
The biggest what ifs of 2020 are like, what if like Dayton's club lacrosse season didn't get canceled? Would Dukes be on a PLL roster? That's what a lot of people I've seen in the comments on TikTok and Instagram.
Then they stopped asking when you shattered your ankle into 100 pieces.
Playing a position I never played.
Todd's down the alley trying to move it.
Yeah, legitimately just trying to give it to Gutty. Like just playing. Everyone had a role to play that night, and my role was to just pass it. Couldn't even get that done. Yeah, let me see if there's any more.
But yeah, so I mean, realistic Saturday, it's chalk and blowouts. Like if it's gonna be chalk all the way through, at least make the games a little interesting. They weren't, so it was just a lot of games where it was great for napping. Pretty good weather out though, so it's kind of tough to nap during good weather. But you're sitting on the couch, have a couple cocktails, like you can kind of doze in and out, and you fall asleep. Duke has a 5-goal lead, and you wake up, they have a 9-goal lead, and it's like, all right, I did miss like too much. Sunday games, all chalk, but at least interesting. So Dukes, get us going.
Let's go. Let's just dive right into Hop Lehigh. A game that was also good to take a nap. A great game to take a nap during because there were so many lightning delays. Jordy, this reminded me of 2 years ago when me and you tried to do a watch party for round 1 games or maybe conference tournament games. And there was a lightning delay in the first 2 games, and we had people on, and it might have been we were live on YouTube for 4 hours before we even watched the lacrosse game. I don't know if you remember that, but it was.
Was there any? Was that when was
Dobson?
When was the Pat Spencer? Okay, yeah.
When we had like Dobson on, we had like Marcus Holman.
Because right now, when I'm thinking about lightning delays, like all I can think about is like Pat Spencer at like 11:30 at night against Virginia.
I'll tell you what game it was. It was Ohio State versus Cornell. That was one of the games, and that got lightning delayed to hell. Ohio State was up, and then Cornell ended up winning, and I think that's when they made the Final Four.
Yeah.
Hell of a memory on this guy.
That's good. It's a good memory.
Because I had Ohio State, and as soon as he went into fucking lightning delay, I was like, I know for a fact this feels like the Super Bowl. Cornell's coming back to win this, and that's exactly what fucking happened. But yeah, let's talk about what actually happened in the Hopkins game. Lehigh did what I kind of thought was the game plan. Slow it down, muck it up, try to out-tough Hop. I mean, that kid number 6 on Lehigh, I got to find out.
Armstrong.
Holy shit. Talk about a guy that would lower his shoulder to hell in me, would break both my ankles. I'm so happy that I didn't try to split dodge that guy down the alley. Fucking monster, absolute cannon of a shot. I want to shout out Hopkins' defense. Yeah, go.
So that one was deserving. And then I know that I want to say it was Jacob Angelis ended up doing it also after he broke a kid's ankles. But the flex celly, I'm starting to turn on it a little bit. I think the guys are getting. I think it's coming out. So the Quinn Armstrong 1000% deserved it. But this game just had a lot of flex cellies going on that like it started to raise like the alarm button has been presented to me. I haven't pushed it yet. The alarm's not going off, but like I've opened up the briefcase, the button's right there. I want to sound the alarm on the flex celly. I'm going to sleep on it, see how I feel in the morning. But I think that guys are getting just a little too liberal with when they can break it out.
I agree with that.
I think there's only one way to save the flex celly, and we need a few more of the shush. We need a little more of the shush celly. Shush celly. Jesus fuck. It'll counteract a little bit. I'm not seeing a lot of I love a good turn to the bench, turn to that away bench and just tell them, shut the fuck up. There were a lot of flexes, but I think that one flex just kind of that almost sounded the other flex alarm that everyone had to do it. Once that guy did it, they're like, well, now we got to get the flex on. They're in the locker room like that guy just fucking flexed at our home fucking field. They were like, now we got to give it back to him. So if you push that button, Jordy, let me know. I'll rally the troops and we'll shut it down if we need to.
Listen, it's there. My hand's hovering over it. I haven't sounded it just yet, though. So I'm going to give it some time, see how I really feel about it in the morning. But just know I'm on to it right now.
Alexander Santella said Hopkins D was nasty. That's exactly what I was thinking when Scott Smith, I think everyone really knows about. But Zulek on Hopkins, I thought he had a hell of a game. the Hopkins
Their
defense
has been really nasty for the last couple years, and it's
Yes.
been really hard to adjust to, like mentally
100%.
being like Hopkins is like a defensive team now. Like in my head, I still won't believe it, but it's been that way for a couple years now.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree. It's like the style of play. Like they're winning like 7-5 games, which is just so weird to look at. I took the under in this game, and when it was like the lightning delay and the weather, I was like, this is so easy. But kind of went firing in that fourth quarter. Exactly what I thought.
How do we feel about the lightning delay wiping off the Lehigh goal?
All right, that's just the rule. No, not to take like as. Yeah, I think I didn't have a problem with it. Did you have a problem with it?
Go ahead, Jordy.
I just thought it was so bang bang that if I'm Will Scudder, like I'm going into the locker room fired up about it. At the very least, just to make sure that the boys come out of the lightning delay with the energy, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like they did.
Listen, I think that the rule's the rule. I think that it was called the way that it should have been called, but I do think that had Lehigh lost this game, and you know, now at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything because they lost by 3. But if they had lost by 1, I do think that they would have reason to bitch about it for the entire year.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with that. It's it was one of those things where when the whistle went off, I was like, damn, like both sides are going to be like, we got fucked, or like, holy shit, we got saved. And with the way they broke it down on TV, being like, if it was an inadvertent whistle, it would count. I agree. It's like when there's like lightning delays going on, I think it was just an unfortunate thing. I'm happy that it didn't really have to come down to controversy of someone's in quick trigger finger on the horn. I mean, you think they should have let it play out?
No, I think that
I want kids to die.
They would have been fine if there's butt ends on their sticks. Second off, I'm under the impression the game really doesn't stop until the whistle blows after the horn, is what I saw. No. That's what the tweeters were saying, that the horn technically doesn't stop the play. It's the whistle. So, like, if the horn goes off, I don't think the play stops until the ref blows his whistle, which he didn't until the ball was in the net. And if that's not the rule, it's not the rule. But
I want to circle back real quick. What do you mean if they have a butt end on their stick, they'll be fine?
It's rubber. It's rubber. They'll be fucking fine. The lightning's not going to hit them. Has anyone ever been struck by lightning on the lacrosse field ever in their life?
Yes, twice. One of my friends' dad got struck on a lacrosse field, got struck by lightning on a lacrosse field twice in his life. It's one of the craziest things.
That is fucking insane.
Insane. Not once, but twice.
Pocket. You're like, yeah, I know a guy got struck by lightning twice.
And it was at his son's lacrosse tournaments, which is even crazier. Like, how do you just like comfortably go outside again?
That guy's
how many people, like, what percentage of people that get struck by lightning die? Because I feel like I hear a lot of stories about guys who get like survive lightning strikes.
It's survival.
We've been overestimating lightning this whole time. Like, is lightning not him?
I wonder if it's one of those things that like 90% survive. I wonder if it's one of those things that, you know, back lightning, like we couldn't figure out malaria, like when we couldn't figure out like how to like the common cold, and people just die from the common cold. Like back in 1910, what was the survival rate of people getting struck by lightning? Was it 60%? Because I think that this legend just grew, and then nowadays we just think it's bad, but really we're killing the common cold. What's the common cold? How many survival rate of
common cold kills way more people than lightning?
Well, yeah, we gotta go off of percent, but 90% is
nothing. I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm kind of out on.
Jordy thinks he's stronger than Thor
right now.
Imagine thinking you're tougher than lightning. Fucking lightning.
90% survive. That's shocking.
Grimes put it good. You got dad strength now. You're a pit master. You're about as alpha as it gets. Lightning survival chance against you is probably like 10%.
I'm gonna have to the next time there's a little thunderstorm passing through the Philly area. I'm definitely gonna have to live stream it because with all this shit I'm talking on lightning, I'm catching one high and late.
Lacrosse podcaster, pitmaster, storm chaser added to the resume.
I'm in there.
I was actually random before we get into the next game. There's this college football guy, this guy Josh Pate, and I just found out that I don't know if anyone knows him, that he's a storm chaser. And I was like, I think I need to bring that to the lacrosse community. Just be like a storm chaser or like some like tournaments like in Maryland when there's like a tornado. Just being like, we're going to hunt this in between games.
I'm definitely not hunting them, but in my older age, I'm starting to really I'll get into deep dives on like just researching storms and shit like that. Storms and volcanoes I've been getting really into lately. Just like 2 a.m. Wikipedia. Oh, dude, volcanoes.
I might need to do a deep dive tonight. Do some reading.
Yeah, I get really into this shit as well too. Last thing about the Hopkins game, shout out Matt Collison. He played fucking phenomenal, the sophomore midfielder. Kind of was the best player on the field all game. And then moving on to the second game of the day. Fucking Georgetown, man. Georgetown 12, Penn State 9. Penn State was up early, kind of the anti-Denver.
I mean, what was it? It was 7-2, right? 7-2, and then Kevin Warren took a timeout.
Yep, and probably tore apart the team. Closed the game. I know at one point on like a 9-2 run. I don't know what the math is there, what it ended up being, but fucking Penn State didn't show up in the second half, and I'm one Georgetown win away from looking like the biggest fucking idiot in the world again, having to shave my head like the first week of PLL. And it would be so me for Georgetown to beat Notre Dame and my takes crumble and my hair fucking get shaved off. My mom and girlfriend yelling at me, humble brag. It was just terrible. Matt Trainer had the goal of the game, which was really cool to see. But what were your guys' main takeaways from Georgetown's win, Penn State's loss? The only thing I'll say is Georgetown's young studs really stepped up for them.
Go ahead, Ness, if you got anything.
I'm just a little worried for Dukes. I've been sort of back in his Georgetown, not necessarily hate, but he doesn't want them to win.
Fuck you.
I don't want to see bald Dukes. I think his hair has just been phenomenal the last few weeks or months. I think he's really got something going on there. Would hate to see it all come crumbling down like this. But at least you have your boys from South Bend to back you here. I mean, there's no better team you want going up against Georgetown right now than Notre Dame. So
Nest. I will. You know what? You got me so fucking confident again because I have Jordy. I hope you listen to this episode. I told Nest the second week when Georgetown beat Notre Dame, and I was making fun of Georgetown for winning their Super Bowl and breaking down exactly what Georgetown does. And John Michael Davis fucking is saying exactly what I said. The quarterfinal loss is what I've been saying all year long. All year long, I said they will lose in the quarterfinals. But guess what? Georgetown has all this talent coming back next year. And they're young studs, and they're just one win away from breaking through. And until they do, I will keep fading Georgetown in the quarterfinals. And it's been what I said was going to happen all year long. But Jordy, go ahead. I just need to get that off my chest. Don't doubt now, Nest.
I'm here with you, dude.
I do. So I'm just hand up full apologies to Kevin Warren. Earlier in the season, I just fired off on Twitter. So Georgetown takes down Notre Dame, and Kevin Warren just going nuts on the sideline, like looking like it's a Memorial Day celebration. It's February 25th. I thought it was. Listen, I don't want to be the guy that says you can't have fun out there, but at the same time, that's you celebrate like that in February. You're still going to have to go up against those guys in May, and they're not going to forget about it. But what I will say, I thought that he emptied the tank in February. He still had so much more in the tank for today. Just going nuts after that win, going nuts trying to call timeouts during the game. When he did get his timeout, obviously he said pushed all the right buttons for the boys because they were down by 5. They end up winning by, again, not
3.
End up winning by 3. And then end of the game celebrating like a lunatic. Seems like just dude's just all juice, 100%. Gallon of juice. So Kevin Warren, great win for him. Great win for Georgetown. Cool to get a big win in the tournament where, a guy like Graham Bundy, he gets 1 goal in the day. So, you figure he still has more in the tank left to go for the quarterfinals. Only thing I'll say about Penn State, still laughable that TJ Malone made it to the 3rd round of the draft.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like an injury or something. I really do, and that's I'm just searching for anything, but Kevin Warren. This is my only thing I'll say. You can celebrate today. That's a huge tournament win against a team that I thought was like Final Four good going into last weekend. But if you want to be a serious program, you can't have unserious like. You can't be like, I don't know. You want to be with everybody. You want to be with the big boys. Are you a big boy or are you a Cinderella story? Where is it with Georgetown? That's what I'll always say. Are they the Cinderella story or are they the serious program? Because if you're the serious program, you're not going to celebrate like that over a win at like against Notre Dame in the middle of February, like rolling around on the ground. I don't agree with that. Do you celebrate in May when you get a big time win over Penn State? Yes, because this shit matters. I just think if you're going to be a serious program, don't do unserious shit. And honestly, they're not a serious program until they make the Final Four.
Wow.
I'm fine with all that. I mean, there's a reason. Like you look at the series programs, like John Tillman gets a win in February, he's right back to the iPad.
Right.
Danowski gets a win in February, he'll go home, grab a glass of wine, call it a night. Kevin Corrigan's like still too like fired up and pissed off at the refs to even know that they won a game. So
just yelling at Ryder.
Yeah.
I like this. People are Jordy because you were on the Tambroni train, fire Tambroni train. Then you got off it after last year. But I want to know now your opinion on this. What people in the chat are saying, fire Tambroni.
I'm not.
Do you want to respond to them?
I'm not for or against. I don't think that like I don't know if Tambo's like making or breaking Penn State right now. So it's like, if you think that a change could, they should be. I'm not saying that they should be in the Final Four every year. Like that's a lot to ask of a program. But they should be knocking on the door every single year. And like they've had a couple down years in the mix of, 2 Final Four appearances. So like he's like it's so up and down. So I wouldn't fire Tambo right now, but I also think like you could probably still do a little bit more with everything that the Penn State job offers you.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
But it does seem like he's just recruiting the balls off of Philly lately. So they'll be back in the Final Four.
Gritty boys out in Philly. I do have one thing I think we missed that I have something I really need to talk about. Lacrosse burners. I think burners are fucking awesome. I love the guys that root, the guys that are gritty, the guys that get in the mud. There's an epidemic going on Instagram of the same clone burners of fake older guys who like are just say outrageous stuff. Like they don't even say like specific personal or mean things. They're just like stupid comments about like back in 78 we drank and did this, and it's always a fake account and they have the same husband bio, whatever the fuck. Those accounts suck. They're boring, they're repetitive, they're just trolls. It's no fun. The guys who get into the mud and will back a certain team, a PLL team, a college team, I love it. I love when a burner comes at my neck. I know some people love going out with burners. Other people don't pay attention to them. I just think if all you do is hate with a burner and you don't have like at least something you're rooting for, then you're just a coward. Like I had this guy up my ass and he's fucking on me about Cabrini. I'm like, who's your squad? And he just won't. There's no answer. So to me, it's just we can't even go back and forth. You're just Cabrini this, Cabrini that. It's like, yeah, I don't know what you want from me. You're just laying into me about Cabrini. I can't even get a chirp in about whoever the fuck. So I think if you're a burner, you have to have two sides. You can hate, but you have to root for someone. You fucking have to. And if you don't, you're a coward.
I'm not saying anything, but this burner is in your head. If he's listening right now, he's like, "Ha, I got him."
He's probably fucking listening. And don't get me wrong, I've done my research. I know way more about him than he thinks I do. And when I find out who the fuck you are, I'm gonna knock on your fucking door and I'm gonna punch you square in the neck.
He's probably not even just listening. He's probably not even just listening to this podcast right now. He's probably hosting it. This is definitely Dukes' burner.
Dukes is just on my ass as a burner. And Duke Woat has been quiet ever since Dukes called him out. Guy hasn't put out a tweet since. He's shaking in his fucking boot.
I found out who it is. The guy just shouldn't have followed. He shouldn't have followed his friends, or it was he followed two Sacred Heart goalies that graduated in 2020. I'm like, all right, it's probably a Sacred Heart goalie that graduated in 2020.
Easy to find out.
Is anyone else getting this echo?
Yeah. Ness, is your volume all the way up?
I'll turn this down. How about now? You guys still good?
That doesn't sound great.
Check.
I'm not getting
Check.
it. I can leave real quick and come back.
Oh, no. That sounds good.
No, we're good. I think it was just because of your volume, because headphones or something. But we're good now. Yeah. Okay, this is just really quick when we're just on Big Ten Penn State talk before getting into the last two games. I know we're running late right now. I do want to address this. I have been on the fire Bresci train all year long. And you guys know I love doing the Crease Dive, helping out with Mitchell Pelkey's 10-episode thing right now. And I'm not sure if I could bring it over to that podcast for the Ohio State boys, but I do want to bring up a coach that should be on the hot seat. Nick Myers. Nick Myers, since making the Final Four in the championship game, he's 11-22 in the Big Ten. Now, you might be saying different expectations, but for a guy that has a lot of talent on the USA rosters from Ohio State, you would be thinking that all these USA guys would be making Final Four runs. So Nick Myers, I'm going to say, firmly plant his ass on the hot seat. That's just a take that I want.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I hope that Nick Myers keeps this job for life, because there's not a team that I could be any more indifferent towards than Ohio State lacrosse. I don't hate them, but it's just again, they're another team where I just there are only so many teams that I can care about throughout the season. Ohio State just doesn't make the cut for that, and with Nick Myers at the helm, he has them in the perfect spot where I know that I don't need to give a shit about Ohio State lacrosse, because they're not going to be doing anything in May anymore. So, good school with a sick new facility, and they get good players in, and they might start off a season 5-0 and get some top 20 votes. The wheels are going to fall off eventually. They're not going to be making any noise in May. And that's just one team where I don't need to follow closely. And I know that I'm not missing anything. So, listen, once we start to get 10 really good teams in college lacrosse, it gets harder to keep up with everything going on. But right now there's 6. So I'm fine with Nick Myers. I'm fine with Nick Myers staying, but if I were an Ohio State fan, I'd be okay, yeah.
Two programs that should be better that just aren't, that I'm okay with. I kind of agree. I'm now flipped to your Ohio State take. I agree with that. And also Villanova, a team that should be better when you just look at a school that should be fighting for Final Fours more, in my opinion. But if you're behind a paywall, you're on Big Ten Network Plus, or you're on Flow Lax, fuck off. I fuck off. 3 good Big East teams, we're getting I'm gonna have to start paying for that shit. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Ness?
I was gonna say they're in purgatory, not bad, not great. That's sort of where they've been. I've been waiting for Ohio State to blow down the door and be a contending team. I think I touched on this early in the season. Of all the big schools that have thanks Grimes, for all the big schools that have like attraction to them outside of lacrosse, like the Penn States, Ohio States, the Michigans, I think Penn State's done the best job of taking that step forward. And I think Michigan and Ohio State are both a step behind in a sense. So I've always been a little out of Ohio State. And then speaking of Mitch Pelkey, I mean, got to know the guy, great guy. He sends me a text as Cabrini's dying, Cabrini blows. So guess fucking what, Mitch? I'm officially making my fucking stand as an Ohio State hater, and I'm going to be on your ass next spring when they fucking start up again every fucking week when they play. Mitch is going to have to block my number by the end of the 2025 lacrosse season because guess what? I got no one else to fucking watch next spring, and I will be breaking down the downfall of Ohio State. That's on the record.
Damn. I can't have my boys fighting like that, but Nest, I got your back. I got your back. If you need me to fight the good fight, the Crease Dive is my loyalty. I'll fight the good fight. All right, let's get into these last two games.
By the way, Villanova, they don't recruit Philly public school nearly enough.
They don't?
So they'll get privates. They got a couple Philly privates, but they don't come after Philly public schools. So there's a reason why they are no bueno, and that's it.
Third game of Sunday. Notre Dame, Albany. Kavanaugh games. They went off. Obviously, they kept it close in the first half. Jordy, was this game ever in doubt?
Not in doubt, but it one of those ones where it could have came down to the wire. Like I sent out a tweet right before halftime. Like it just seemed like I think the leadership of guys like Kavanaugh's, like they might not have, but there was something in the air where it seemed like Notre Dame just kind of expected to roll out the ball.
Yes.
And they'd get the win and they'd be into the quarterfinals. I don't know if they were necessarily like that nonchalant about it, but that first half, 11 turnovers, I think, maybe even more, just a lot of forces, just bad decision-making, and Albany, clearly a team with juice, clearly a team with nothing left to lose. Probably just got done singing an entire Pearl Jam album in the locker room. Like they were ready to go. They were getting their, getting to their spots. So tough first half for Notre Dame to kind of shake themselves out of the funk. Second half, they came out, and that's why they're the reigning champs, because they have 2 Kavanaughs. The other team has 0. They have Jake Taylor. The other team does not. And Liam Entenmann, I don't even really remember him having.
He didn't even have a good game.
Yeah, he didn't have a great game, but he still got, just enough done. Devin McLean. Shout out the McLean train. What a transfer that is.
Great game.
So, yeah. Never in doubt, but definitely a wake-up call was necessary.
Yeah, I think that just walked into the game like we're going to beat them. The first half was low. I want to just say something as like a little bit of a hardo. I have a little bit of a hardo take, Jordy, as a coach, a high school coach yourself. I want to know your take on this. So I have been on the Jake Facino. I think he's great in transition. He's great like off-ball defender, like snagging balls out of the air. I've said he relies a little bit on the one-on-one game for calls turnovers, a little bit too much on the over-the-head check. As a cover man, didn't have his best game today. As a cover guy. Now, there was one play that sticks in my head a lot, and it's him getting one off the carpet, like blocking a shot, getting it off the carpet, running to make a highlight play, running to get to the point to probably try to score a goal, which is fine. They didn't score. The last person back, jogging down the field, walking basically, Jake Facino. And I was like, it was one of those things that I felt like such a hardo coach. Is that hardo of me, or do you think that's okay? As a poll, sprinting all the way down on the offensive end, and then legitimately, like I would say, basically walking back.
Like I think that's one where one, you better get on the wing for the next face-off. Like don't even go off to the sideline, because if you go off to the sideline, you're going to get ripped. But go take the next wing on the face-off, and then by the time that the next possession's over with, like your coaches will forget about it until film the next day. I thought that he was like perfectly fine. There was one moment where like it I think Pacav he either drew Pacino as a slide or maybe he had someone hung at X and then Pacino slid over. So either way, like there was one moment where Pacino ends up sliding over to Pacav and like you could see like Pacav not like he wasn't like raring to go. He was like, all right, like maybe let me move this ball. Someone else can do a little something extra with this when they're not getting guarded by 88. So I think that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, going off that, one of the best pieces about this Notre Dame offense, in my opinion, is the elevation of Chris Kavanaugh as a playmaker.
Yeah,
like being able to just be more than a deep threat.
Yeah, when Pat can just hand the ball off to Crit and then he can make something happen, like it makes, listen, you want to put your best ball on Pat, like that's fine. Like they still have other playmakers all around. So that's, and that's what they kind of got into in that second half. Yeah, I didn't really notice Pacino being like a liability today.
Not a liability.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I still agree with your take about that. He's definitely does more for Instagram than anything. I don't necessarily remember any moment of this game, but I almost never watch for defensive plays when I watch lacrosse. I'm strictly watching for goals.
Didn't get like toasted by any means, like anything on IG. Let's just say that if you were somebody that wants to suck Jake Pacino off any chance that you can on like Twitter or Instagram, there wasn't that much to pick from today. There was he got one ball out of midair that like where they're like, what can he do? It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. You want to like pick what are we fucking doing? But like you could just
while we're talking hardo takes, can I throw one out there?
Please.
In what world should anyone ever have to sit in the box for 3 minutes?
Oh, I totally agreed with your take. I said it to my dad. I stole your take and said it to my dad.
The 3-minute non-releasable is a joke. That is so much time to be man down. Like you have to kill someone on the field to serve a full 3 minutes. Like I didn't even know that I thought that it got capped off. I thought a 2-minute non-releasable was like the worst thing that you could possibly ever find yourself in lacrosse. And then the 3-minute non-releasable gets broken out today. Albany ends up scoring 2 on that man up. One of them, thanks to, again, Notre Dame first half, really sloppy. They clear the ball. They're man down with like a minute left, right? So they'd have that entire minute of the shot clock to just kill the rest of the penalty. But then they forget that they're man down. So then they send 6 over the line, offsides. Boom. Albany gets it back, goes down, scores that second man up goal. They still have like 13 seconds left. Just one of those moments where you're like, yeah, like Notre Dame's really not in, like the head's not really in this game. But yeah, so a 3-minute non-releasable, just a ridiculous overstep. No need for that.
I want to know what, because the 2 minutes, like the more common one, what makes it 3 minutes compared to the 2? Like why do they even take it that far? That's what
you should have to pull out a gun. Like if you pull out a gun, it should be 3 minutes on if you legitimately punch someone in the face, 3 minutes on release. I get that.
That's fair. I think if you throw a punch, that should be the rule.
I'm good with 2. A punch I'm good with 2. I think just a gun.
I'd be out there.
You swing your lacrosse stick without the rubber butt end, and you swing it at someone. 3 minutes.
Well, you need the rubber butt end though because of the lightning.
Right. Yeah. Correct. That's just just standing out there with like the rubber butt end, and be like, guys, see, you can't get struck.
He's got the rubber butt end. He's got a gun in one hand. He's checking the tackman with the other ass.
He's holding the Salisbury coach under my arm.
It's like the what movie is that from? Where it's like longest yard is like offsides on number 77, 78, 16, 22, and like that's Nest. Damn, that's funny.
Have the longest yard rules.
Last game of the day.
Yeah, so we can get rid of the 3-minute non-releasable.
Yeah, I totally agree with your take. I actually stole it to my dad. My dad thinks I'm smart now. But yeah, one kid for Notre Dame I think has been really stepping up, especially on that second line, is Riley Gray. I think he was a first liner last year, Chaminade kid. Huge body. Never thought that he really took advantage of the opportunities that were given to him. Just like a good player for the midfield for Notre Dame. I think him being on the second line, being able to really be the guy on that line, he's been doing great. So shout out to Riley Gray. I think he's been a great not even addition, just great piece to this Notre Dame success in the second line. Last game of the day, I thought this was my upset. I thought this was gonna happen, to be honest. Towson up on Cuse at halftime. I'm riding high, I'm feeling good, and then Cuse just comes out and fucking splitzes them in the mouth. Blitzes them. What was your guys' takes overall in this game?
Joey's
one, I fucking like, and I say this after every Syracuse game that I watch, but I fucking love Owen Hiltz.
Mm-hmm.
That kid is just so net. Like he's got just the smoothest. I feel like I don't know how many assists does he have so far this year. Do I have a full stats out? Either way. I have to imagine that 90% of his assists are all no lookers. Like it's just so crisp. Like when he's the point guy in a man up, it's so crispy. So Owen Hiltz rules so goddamn hard. And then obviously, the biggest play of the game, Riley, figure us. We're not a pronunciation podcast, but I mean that pick that he had on the 2-on-1. I think it was a tie ball game at the time, right? Probably 9-9 at that time. Roussel, who had a sick game for Towson, comes down, goes to throw the pass. Figueras throws the stick up, clean, the cleanest pick that you could ever dream of on a 2-on-1. Goes down the field. Syracuse scores on that rush, and then it was just all Cuse from there on. So
it was GG's.
I think
it was never Towson.
Yeah,
it was one thing. The storyline outside the game, obviously, was the Joe Sider goal on Evan Malloy, but it was just borderline disrespectful bringing that up in the middle of the pot, in the middle of the game.
Yeah, that was nuts. I know it maybe never really was Towson, but when it was 5-5, were we kind of all thinking like maybe it might be Towson?
When it was 9-8, I was like, it's fucking Towson. I thought it was fucking Towson. I was like, this is happening exactly what I said was going to happen. Like, the young team in Syracuse thought just like the Towson had nothing to lose, thought they had enough talent to get it done. But, I mean, all fucking credit goes to Syracuse. A couple weeks ago, before the ACC, I was like, Syracuse – and Nest, I was saying this to you, like obviously when the matchups came out, my opinion changed, but I was like, this team is Final Four good. I'm like, they're a couple goals away from us being like, is this the number 2 team in the country? Now their youth and the way their matchup with Towson, I didn't personally like, but like this team is fucking fun to watch. Like I would say that I was one of the biggest Syracuse haters in the past couple of years, and they have made me full on like a team that I enjoy to watch. Like this young core that they have is so fucking exciting. I think just the fact they got I'm gonna botch his name, Odiana from Manhattan, like the head coach, is one of the best defensive minds in the country. Kind of like, I know that was like a 15-goal game, but I didn't think Will Mark played exceptional. Not even especially in the first half. He kind of turned it on in the second. But I mean, Syracuse has got it buzzing all over the place. Like Finn Thompson's one of the guys that I love watching. Stevens, I love watching. I think Muley is like the perfect vet to play off of Spallina. So, I mean Syracuse has a lot of good.
Spallina showed up. I mean, I think he ended with 7 points, 4 goals, 3 assists. Might have gotten one at the end that I didn't see, but I mean, that's big for Cuse. He doesn't disappear in big games. The focus is always on him, so he's not going to be able to put up big points every game. But for him to come out round 1, get his first tournament points, similar to like what Jordy said about the Duke goalie, like getting a little bit of confidence. Like, Spallina's got to be feeling pretty fucking good. Like, hey, that monkey might be off my back. I have a bunch of dogs around me, and I mean, like Duke's IQs was so close to being 2 or 3 in the country if it wasn't for 3 overtime losses. So we'll see. I'm kind of like you, Dukes. I wasn't much of a hater as Q's, but they grew on me a lot this year. Like I love watching them play. I caught myself rooting for them for basically no reason. A lot more often than I should, so I guess that makes me a Q's guy. I like Spallina because everyone hates on him. I don't think they.
You know why I was really rooting for Q's tonight? Because can we talk about what the hell was Towson doing every time that Joey Spallina had them hung at X?
Yeah, their defense is terrible,
mind-blowingly stupid. Listen, Luke Downs, I'm sure, great kid. Don't want to harp on. They're just kids. Don't want to harp on them too much. But holy fuck, buddy, mix in a clue. Like you got Joey Spallina behind the net. Like you running out and making him shoot. Like one, maybe just like poke your head out on one side of the net. Don't run behind X and try to cover the guy. Like it's unbelievable that in the shot clock era, we still have guys that are trying to force guys to get out. For like you got them hung at X, fine, whatever. Like zone it up, cover everyone behind you, and let the guy who has the ball in his stick just like crush 45 seconds to 60 seconds of that shot clock. Like the whole reason why the shot clock is here in the first place is because Joey Sankey once killed like 8 minutes of a quarter with a guy hung behind that. So like that was no shot clock, and the guys just let him hang out there for like 8 minutes behind X. Like now all you have to do is just let them sit there for 60 seconds and they'll run out of time. But you still got goalies like Luke Downs. So we're going to run out behind the net to chase down Joey Spallina. It for sure happened twice, and it was 2 easy goals for Hughes. It could have happened more times than that, and I've just like chose to black it out of my memory, but just idiotic. And once I saw that happen, I was like, all right, listen, I Towson, I can't watch them play lacrosse anymore. I need Hughes to win. Then they went on that run, and I was like, thank God.
Don't get me wrong. There's always going to be times where like there's an upset in lacrosse. Like a team like Towson could probably beat Cuse on a given night, but there's always a kid like Luke Downs where, you know, or someone that's playing really well on one of these Towson teams. And you're like, how the fuck did this kid go like unnoticed all throughout high school? Like how the fuck is this kid not at Maryland, at Virginia? And then they do like boneheaded shit like that. And you're like, oh, like that. That's why he didn't get recruited. That's why he wasn't in the Under Armour All-American game. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Like, yes, but Muley is also one of the guys just overall all season long that like I think has been like a beneficiary of Spallina. That's like my main part. Like when Spallina like in these big games, like I've quoted him a lot like throughout the year, but like that game, I forget who was against, but Spallina got a lot of shit for his point production being down and Muley being like, you guys have got to stop fucking coming at Spallina.
Yep.
Like he draws the main attention. He gives everyone else opportunities to score, and still I'm pretty sure that Muley had like 1-1. So I don't know. I just think that he's like a good person to have around Spallina. Both Long Island guys. Muley's dad was a coach, pretty sure for the Lizards. Spallina's definitely was. I'm fairly certain that they have like family connections and probably like a good, strong Island bond. So I don't know. I think he's a good guy, a good leader for Spallina to bounce off of in the locker room. Yeah, was Luke Downs idiotic? Yes, but still lit to see. I kind of respect that. So stupid it was funny. Certainly a better guy than Chase Scanlon. Yeah, hot take, but I'll agree with that. That was good.
That's a great.
Can we talk about the IL All-American list? Shelley not being first team is criminal, and I hate UVA. Okay, so I missed it because I was packing for a work trip. So can we go through the IL list together? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's Shelley's not on there.
On any team.
Well, on the
second team. So first team was O'Neill, Brandau, CJ Kirst. Second team was Pacav, Shelley, and who was that other one? Chat, help me out.
Okay, I'm looking at it now. This list
like
is so dumb.
But this is like one of those ones where it's like oh, did like Matt Brandau and CJ Kurz like get snubbed from the Tewaaraton finalist list? Like, all right, their first team All-American. Like, I don't know, some backdoor politicking going on there.
Cav, Malone, Shelley, second team.
I mean, I feel like
Sam King, Cav, third team.
feel like it's like undeniable that Schellenberger had a better year than Brendan O'Neill. No, I feel like that's not even.
What about your boy CJ? Should we?
Yeah, I mean, we're not.
I don't think we can kick CJ off. One, because he's my boy. I've lost enough this weekend, and two, like, I mean, I will never kick CJ Kershaw off the first team. But I just don't think Brendan O'Neill played as well as he had in the past. Like, I mean, I'm gonna Google up his official stats while you guys keep talking, but that's just
okay. Somebody said the second team would smoke the first team. I kind of agree. Like my first look at it, I think I'm going second team.
Think so?
Yeah. Like honestly,
I mean,
Brandon. Yeah, but first team has Entman.
Yeah, I think Emmett Carroll's still really good. I think that the second team defense might overall be better. I think the LSM might be better. I love the short stick D-Medis.
Of course you think the LSM's better.
that was chat clip that. No, I think, but I don't know. I think that second team might be better. Chris Cav's a guy that I think has just been so sneaky underrated. Good list. I mean, I think the first team's kind of fucking crazy, but besides that, I don't have too many problems. Anything else in the chat?
There's 3 spots. Like it's so like that. There are just so many. There's so many just nasty lacrosse players. Like I feel like there aren't that many good teams, but there are that many just nasty players. So it's 3 spots for first team. Like it's impossible. Hold up, looking through it right now.
How the fuck is Caster not first team? It is tough. The defense is tough. There's been just as much as how many good attackmen there are. There's a lot of good defenders.
I mean, they should do it. They should do first team versus second team, and then
that'd be fun to watch. But obviously, impossible. Or not impossible. But
did you guys hear that?
Me?
Did you guys hear? I'm living at home with my parents right now. My mom just comes in. She's like, "You still doing that podcasting?" I think I just saw her behind my shoulder. I was like,
Happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Dukes.
This is one thing. I know we're gonna close up shop really quick. We're coming in an hour and a half longer than I expected. James Shipley needs to get picked up by a PLL team. It's insane. I think that at the very least, if you're a good 2A midi that's been a 2-time captain, you should be an auto invite to the PLL training camp. I think that's insane.
Bring him to the Water Dogs. Keep him in Philly.
Yeah, legitimately. He's having to travel to Towson instead of Hempstead Stubbreak. Yep. I'll be boots on the ground next weekend at Hofstra. Excited for that. Do you guys have anything else you want to close on?
No. Good to go.
All right. Jordy, close it off for us.
Jordy,
yeah,
go ahead.
Listen, make sure you guys are following us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I don't even know what we're on anymore. You guys
Rumble.
Are on Rumble, so we're on just Google us, the Crease Dive, and just spam follow us. Get your burner accounts to follow us. Don't say mean stuff to Ness about Cabrini anymore. That's
don't tweet at him.
Yeah.
Don't.
No, fucking tweet at me. Just
don't make a burner tonight and tweet at Ness about Cabrini. He doesn't like that. Don't do it.
Fuck you guys and fuck the people. I want them to fucking tweet at me. I stop wanting them to be pussies and hiding. At least just tell me who you fucking root for so I can root on your fucking demise. It's bullshit that I put my heart and soul out there and these people won't even back a fucking college team. That's all I ask. You don't have to tell me who you are. I'm fine with the burner. Just have a fucking favorite team.
Don't do it, guys. Don't make it. Don't make it.
Have a favorite team and keep it low to high till the day we die. We out.